That's the only form of hatred that has been. That's not. Then I can't get to church because yes, I can't get to church with having to transport you.